If you are an American, you should be worried right now. A massive explosion at the Valero oil refinery in Port Arthur, Texas. One of America's largest oil refineries just exploded. This isn't just a fire. This could hit your gas prices next. It could impact the entire U.S. energy supply. Valero Port Arthur refinery, one of the largest refining facilities in the country, capable of processing more than 335,000 barrels of oil per day. Thick black smoke and intense flames were seen rising into the sky as emergency crews rushed to the scene. Officials say there are no confirmed injuries so far, but the cause of the explosion remains unknown and is under investigation. The refinery plays a critical role in supplying fuel across the U.S., especially along the Gulf Coast, making this incident significant for both energy markets and everyday consumers. Experts warn that any disruption at a facility of this scale could potentially impact fuel distribution and prices if operations are affected for an extended period.
Bro, what you doing? It go right there.
Bro, you got $6, bro? Yeah,
bro,
they could pick that shit up. Now, I am not paying $9 motherfucking for gasoline. No way.
Are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me? Oh, by the way, it's 4:45.
Well, I can't lie to you. This gas is getting crazy in Georgia, bro.
Good Lord.
Fuck you, Donald Trump. Fuck you, Donald Trump. Fuck you, Benjamin Netanyahu. Fuck you, this shit.
Look.
So we got some breaking news coming in from Hustle Bitch, and he says the Houston airport collapsed overnight. TSA shutdowns, passengers left sleeping on the floor until 3:30 a.m. So this is inside IAJ, George Bush International Airport at 3 to 4 a.m. TSA wasn't slow. It wasn't backed up. It was shut down. Lines stretched from the basement to the terminals. Zero movement for hours. People missing flights before security even opened. Entire sections of IAHA turned into makeshift sleeping areas. Look at the floor. Suitcases everywhere. People using backpacks as pillows. Dozens laid out across the terminal just waiting for TSA to come back. Hours go by. Then at 3:30 a.m., security finally reopens. By then, people had already spent the entire night stranded inside the airport. If this is normal now, what's next? Holy shit.
Oh my gosh. Look at this. Yo, this is the airport. This is the airport, TSA. Oh my goodness, y'all. If you're going to the airport, this is the line. Oh my goodness.
I'm just reporting live from the New Orleans airport. If you are planning on flying out today, you are not flying out today. This is just a sneak peek. There's no end. There's no end. We are not coming home today, tomorrow. I don't know what's going to happen. I think we have to road trip, and I'm not over-exaggerating this. I've never seen this many people in my entire life. So PSA, if you are flying into New Orleans or out of New Orleans, no, you're not.
Philippines officially now under a state of national emergency, nearly a month since the United States and Israel first launched strikes against Iran. And this declaration made by President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. painted a gloomy picture, saying Philippine-flagged commercial airplanes could be grounded if the conflict in the Middle East continues and oil and gas shipments remain disrupted. But nothing exemplifies this state of emergency more than petrol stations across the country where prices have been soaring. And you can see here diesel prices already in the 3 digits, equivalent to more than $2 a liter, prices that were unimaginable just 4 weeks ago. And that's why senators have been urging the president to declare a state of national emergency. And finally, on Tuesday evening, the president relented. But what does this mean? It means that there must be enough funds to be able to give cash dole-outs and fuel subsidies. It ensures that there is continuous supply of food, agricultural products, as well as other basic necessities. It ensures that law enforcement is deployed to prevent hoarding, but most importantly, it ensures that there is enough supply of energy. But the main concern, of course, for most Filipinos is the domino effect of rising oil prices, which is inevitably and eventually a cost of living crisis.
Only 20 days into the Iran war, the world is already at the verge of total collapse. In Thailand, the Prime Minister has ordered civil servants to conserve energy by suspending overseas trips and using stairs instead of elevators. Vietnam has only energy reserves for up to 20 days, so it encourages employees to work from home. Gas stations in Hanoi are extremely crowded, with people queuing to buy petrol, and some are not even allowed to fill their tanks completely. Bangladesh relies on imports for 95% of their energy needs, so it has now shut down all universities across the country starting Monday. The most extreme case is India, where crematoriums are being forced to switch to wood because there is not enough gas to cremate bodies. What we're seeing essentially is an early sign of the world splitting into two types. One group have diversified its energy and achieved energy independence, whereas the other remains dependent on energy imports, lacking the ability to break free from fossil fuel, and eventually left vulnerable in global disruptions. Do you think your country is prepared for this?
Why have I got this gut feeling that I've seen this all before? I feel like I've read this rerun once or twice. Starting to sound a little familiar to me. And would it be such a huge surprise if in the next coming months we started to see, I don't know, work from home mandates, travel restrictions, purchase limits? We're almost expecting we're going to see fuel rations. And would it be such a surprise if all of a sudden, I don't know, this was monitored by QR codes and government mandates and apps, in order to? We remember many of us were talking about the day in which people would finally understand what's going on out there when they went to the supermarket and you can only buy one steak because you'd already bought one earlier in the week. And here we are, 2026. Who knows? Could this be the Great Reset? Now, it's all a bit cynical, though, isn't it? It's all a bit cynical. Probably just a conspiracy theory. And yet we hear that the Yarra ammonia plant is off-site for 2 months, and there's a refinery down in Texas at the moment. It's all a bit confusing. Yeah, the old joke used to be, what's the difference between a conspiracy theory? These people love their conspiracy theories when they finally catch up. But the old joke used to be, what's the difference between a conspiracy theory and reality? 6 months.
Remember when Klaus Schwab said this?
It would bring to a complete halt to the power supply, transportation, hospital services, our society as a whole. The COVID-19 crisis would be seen in this respect as a small disturbance in comparison.
Now, because of the war in Iran, the International Energy Agency has released sheltering from oil shocks. It's a 10-point plan to guide you how to deal with reduced energy, and it looks a lot like a COVID lockdown. Work from home, use public transit. If you are going to drive, make sure that you have a reduced speed on the highway. Don't use gas when cooking, and avoid air travel at all costs. And currently, as we speak, Cuba is in complete darkness, except for their 5-star hotel, because they aren't getting any oil. And you have to wonder if this is a precursor for other parts of the world. Many people believe that these are signs that we are about to enter an energy lockdown, a COVID lockdown 2.0.
Lockdowns are coming. It's going to be COVID 2.0, but they don't have to force you to do it, because no one's going to have any money to go anywhere. You are already seeing signs like United Airlines just cut 5% of their flights. They're already rationing oil in some Southeast Asian countries where, hey, come every other day to get oil. Wait another 4 to 6 weeks from now. If this war continues, it's going to be work from home again. The price of flights is going to double in 2 months. No one's going to be flying anywhere. Hotels are going to crash. All this Airbnb crap. It's all going to crash just like COVID did. And what is the government going to do? They only got one solution. They're going to send out stimmy checks for everyone so they can compensate for the doubling of their grocery prices and oil prices. Now, Another thing to put in perspective, in the 1970s oil embargo, the price of oil quadrupled from where it was at, and right now we are destroying each other's energy infrastructure. This isn't an oil embargo they can just lift and then we can increase the capacity. This energy infrastructure, like the LNG in Qatar, they're saying it's going to take 5 years to rebuild that. So it's just not going to be something we can turn on in the middle of the night. So this is going to be the death knell for the middle class. Whoever's left of the middle class is going to be forced out with just insane inflation on food, costs, insurance, everything going up. And the United States is going to look a lot like Mexico. You're just going to be either really rich or really poor. And the whole era of this strong, vibrant middle class is going to go bye-bye.
Shalom, Kahala, Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushai, Bashem, Rokokodash. The honors my teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect, with the house of David reborn again in this generation. Shalom to the 130 YASHAYA-LA, who today are known as the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, who before losing our true heritage, we were known as and still are the true Hebrew Israelites of the Holy Bible. In the videos you just watched, you could clearly see that there is an orchestrated agenda to bring down these energy lockdowns. Okay, now the impetus for these lockdowns is actually happening. There are explosions, there's a full-on war going out, there's literal people dying, but all these things are being done for a purpose. Okay, and what is that purpose? Well, you probably heard it come with some of the videos. It's to basically shut down traveling, shutting down society, and basically, if this is it, flipping the switch to get everybody over to the New World Order, okay? And what aspects of the New World Order am I talking about? Well, part of the aspects of the New World Order is the 15-minute cities that they're trying to bring forward, okay? We've all seen the 15-minute cities that they want you to be part of, okay? Within 15 minutes, they want you to be able to enjoy the outdoors. You'll have a park, stock up, go to your store, share, reuse. Basically, everything's going to be reused. So if you've seen some of these dystopian movies like the Mockingbird movies, I forgot what they're called, or what is it? It's where they're like Silo. There's always a department that recycles all the things that are within that district, right? And you get the tinkers there and everything. That's what they're proposing. Because why? Well, because the whole economy of you simply just buying a replacement because it's cheaper than buying something, or just buying something new instead of repairing it, that's going away. Basically, everything is going to be made to last, and apparently it's going to have better quality. But also there'll be more things being repaired. You'll work, you'll go to school there. Like I said again, you'll shop there. And as far as eat healthy, I'm sure it's going to be fucking far from healthy. The shit Esau's going to be giving the people, it's going to be a bunch of goy slop. And also you'll be able to exercise and see your doctors, But the point being is that you'll here's the thing I want you to focus on, right? Which is tied to all this, right, is get around. What you're seeing here is a tram. Well, where are the cars? Where are the airplanes in this schematic? Well, guess what? There's bikes, right? There's walking, right, along with looking to homos and shit, right? And but the thing is again, you're not seeing cars or planes. Why is that? Well, because the era of you being able to travel, it's over. Okay, Esau is shutting the system down, and this is on purpose. This 2nd Ezra is 15 and 17. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, and houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread, and for great tribulation. Now, like I said, they, get this picture back up here. This is what they're proposing, right? What you're gonna get is a lot different, okay? You're not gonna get like these nice, picnic parks and, nice little communities that are all picturesque and they look all European and beautiful and healthy. Well, that's, there's bound to be some examples of those set up, okay? And this is gonna be the elites communities, it's gonna be ESAU's communities, but basically for everybody else, it's gonna basically be a lockdown, open-aired prison, just like Gaza, okay? So when all those people said that Gaza was gonna be was a model for how Edom or these Amalekites were gonna, treat the rest of the world, well, they were right in an aspect, okay? Because this is what they're ultimately going to attempt, but what they're gonna achieve is gonna be a lot less for the majority of the people, namely you Negro, Latino, Native Americans, you Israelites. Because why? Well, because these devils, they have a plan, and their plan involves not having you around. And why is that? Well, because, let's read this. This is 2 Corinthians 2:11. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. So like I was saying, these devils, they have an agenda, and that agenda is to ultimately stay in power. They understand that when the Lord returns, that he's going to take them out of power. This is why it tells us in the Bible that there's going to be war in heaven, that ultimately the dragon is going to attempt to fight, against the Lord, right? It says, he shall stand up against the prince of princes, but shall be broken without hand, right? That's talking about these Edomites, right? The so-called Israeli and Caucasian race, right? They are going to end up fighting against God, and they're ultimately going to, fool the other nations into fighting with them. Now, that being said, all of that has to start somewhere. And where it's going to start, it's going to be that they're going to bring forward their New World Order, okay? And this is so that way they can solidify their control over the world, and namely, like I said, go after you Israelites, you Negro, Latino, Native Americans, and all those whose father's bloodline goes back to that family, okay? And the thing is because for them to stay in power, they also understand that they got to take you out, okay? They got to take the Israelites out, and that's because they're trying to get their blessing back, okay? And that's because when their forefather Esau, right, sold his birthright to our forefather Jacob, right, for a bowl of lentils, right, they lost that birthright, okay? And then also when the Lord arranged it so that way our forefather Jacob would get the eternal divine blessing from their father Isaac, the Lord, they lost that blessing, okay? But they ultimately got a second blessing, which allows them to rule the world in the end, and ultimately rule by their sword, right? Their weaponry, which is why they are the most efficient with firearms and weaponry all over the world. Now, like I said again, they want that blessing and that birthright back. So again, to do that, they got to either disqualify you from gaining that inheritance, right? Which is what? Taking the mark of the beast. Or if you're not going to take the mark of the beast, they got to make sure that they get rid of you. Now, in the Bible, it tells us that these Edomites, they're going to get 2 out of every 3 Negro, Latino, Native Americans, right? The 2/3, be it by taking them down by the sword, or by getting them to take that chip. This is 2 Ezra 16:21. Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth that they shall think themselves to be in a good case, and even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. For many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy, and the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them, for the earth shall be wasted, and the city shall be cast down. And it says, so like it says here, right, there's gonna come a very terrible time, Jacob's trouble, as it tells us in the scriptures, right? A time where there's gonna be sword and famine. Now remember, the majority of the food in America is imported or grown using large industrial scaled processes, right, which require oil, right, gasoline, diesel, and that's what is basically starting to become extremely expensive, which means food's going to become extremely expensive, which means what? Food is going to become more scarce. Food isn't going to be so good cheap, okay? And that's the problem, man. See, these devils, they made it very easy to let your guard down. And why? Well, because they made food and entertainment cheap. They entertained the people to what's eventually going to be death, okay? This is why they've been giving the Grammys and all this stuff. While, all this horrible news has been coming out of what's really going on. This is why some people are crashing out right now, not realizing why people are just walking about pretending like nothing's going on. In some of the videos at the beginning of this lesson, namely the airport videos, right? When you've seen those people driving into the airport and seeing those huge lines and just seeing people, these people seemed as if they were inconvenienced, okay? Because that's all they consider, that they're being inconvenienced. They don't realize that their world is about to change, right? And on top of that, they don't realize that the trap that they're walking into in itself is a whole other trap for the rulers of the world, which is going to bring even more destruction and more, I guess you could call it misery upon the earth for these people who are stuck in this world, okay? Now, for us Israelites, this is good news for us, right? This means that, we're closer and closer to the end. Our salvation is coming nearer than what we believed. This is Ecclesiastes 9 and 12. For man also knoweth not his time, as the fish that are taken in an evil net, and as the birds that are caught in the snare, so are the sons of men snared in an evil time, when it falleth suddenly upon them. And that's what's happening, right? Right now, this evil snare, right? This evil agenda, the 2030 New World Order agenda that Esau is pushing, is falling upon the sons of men, upon the world, okay? And also the sons of God, the Israelites. Now, 1/3 of the Israelites, the Negro-Term Native Americans, already know about this, and we're already woken up. And Lord willing, he's gonna protect me, you, the apostles, the elders, the other Akim out there that have woken up and are returning to the Lord, right? And why is that? Well, because he's gonna protect us because we're serving him, right? And hence, we, if you're in this truth long enough, if the Lord is with you, you're gonna have a spiritual hedge of protection around you, okay? Meaning that the famine, the sword, right, all these troubles aren't going to touch you or affect you as everybody else. Now, yeah, we're all going to have to go through it, but some of us are going to be affected a lot less than other people. Again, if you've been in this truth for a while, I've been in this truth for over 10 years now, okay? I'm still young in this truth, but the great thing about it, namely starting with the brothers of GMS, right, you learn to get a stoic spirit on yourself, basically needing less. Okay, the whole aspect of needing all these things here in Babylon the Great, right, is gonna be the end of a lot of people's reality, right? It's gonna be a major wake-up call for people when they realize that they can't live their American lifestyle, right? That it doesn't meld with the New World Order, and these people are gonna be devastated, and a lot of them aren't gonna make it. But either way, obviously we've all been seeing the news, right? Hopefully I was able to collect a lot of these videos and put them together so that way if you haven't really, delved into it, hopefully this is a good overview of what's coming. And as that last guy that I played, he said in about 4 to 6 weeks, if things don't get better on the war, then all shit's gonna basically go to hell, right? As far as the economy and the system around here. Because why? Well, because when you have a system that's under stress with energy, ultimately things are just gonna break. People are just gonna not come to work anymore. You all heard of the, we're 9 meals away from anarchy. Well, what's gonna happen is, besides the oil, that infrastructure that has been destroyed, all those refineries over there in the West Asia, over here in Texas, right? All that is not going to get built back up. And again, what's going to be put in its place is to be controlled energy, okay? Where they're going to basically monitor what you're using. They're going to put restrictions on it, right? And it's going to be a totally different world. This is ESAU's New World Order that we're about to go into. So either way, Akim, hopefully this video was edifying. Until next time, I want to give all honor, glory, and praises to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushai, Bashem, Kabudash. Shalom.